Hello, I'm Kari Samuels, your intuitive counselor and happiness coach with your May forecast. And yes, it is May. I don't know, maybe, I think so. Maybe it's April, maybe it's June. Who can tell anymore? The one thing I know for certain is that we are in 2020 and, you know, astrologers and psychics, we've been forecasting that this was going to be a year for the history books and that this was going to be really the year that everything changed. And so before I get into the astrology and numerology of May of 2020, I want to talk to you about the astrology and numerology of 2020 in general, because it's going to help you put things into perspective. It helps things feel a lot less random and helps you understand that there's a reason for everything and that there's a cycle for everything, that this isn't forever, that all the craziness and stress that is happening right now, this isn't forever, and there's a reason for this, and there's hope in this as well. So I want to share with you, remind you some of the things that I've been saying at the beginning of the year and other people have been saying about what was in store this year, so that we can put this in perspective and understand how to navigate it and understand why this is happening. So let's go back to January, what everyone was talking about. January 12th, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Now, Saturn is the planet that governs structures, boundaries, governments, infrastructure, day-to-day life, politics, the economy, pretty much everything tangible. Structures, right? And Saturn is the most prominent planet this year. There is so much Saturn. That's because we have a lot of planets in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So that Saturn-Pluto conjunction was in Capricorn. Now that hasn't happened since 1518 in that sign, right? So Saturn rules all of those things that are being affected now. Now why? Because this conjunction with Pluto. Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. All things hidden, all things beneath the surface. Pluto actually governs viruses and pandemics. Now, that conjunction happened. Now, we also have Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions in Capricorn that are happening throughout the year. And actually, if you look back in history, a lot of pandemics have happened when this Jupiter and Pluto have been in conjunction. Now, it's the Capricorn that makes things very much about our structures right now and our foundations, economy, everything. So when that happened, January 12th, these are outer planets. These are slow-moving planets. These aren't like personal planets. So these outer planets affect things in a large way over a period of time. So when that happened, people were talking about this January 12th conjunction. A lot of people who, like, maybe, you know, if you don't really study astrology, you don't understand that that's like a long-term thing. So Saturn-Pluto conjunction is death and rebirth of our structures. In this case, anything associated with Capricorn. Like I said, infrastructure, economy, governments, the way, and boundaries. Saturn has those rings. This is about boundaries. Now, we're learning a lot about boundaries now, right? Like, we are maintaining physical distance. How many boundaries can you have, right? And countries are closing up borders to protect people. So that happened in the beginning of the year. So people who have been tuned into that coming in astrology or psychics, we knew that something was going to happen that was going to affect our infrastructure in a big, dramatic way and change everything. Now, this is the way it manifested, right? We have this like global pandemic and social distancing, and economies are being really torn apart, and they have to be rebuilt. Now, the one thing about these planets and the activity that happens with them, they usually, Pluto comes and tears apart structures, or anything that needs a transformation. So even though it's really scary right now, and of course there's the physical fear of, you know, the death and rebirth that's happening. This Pluto is really affecting, you know, in a real death way. And a lot of times this can, you know, happen in war or anything that it's serious and it's real. But what's happening is this transformation of structures and in your life and in the world that needed to be transformed. So that's why it's happening, and that's the what. Now, the other aspects of 2020, we're in a 4 universal year. 4 is very much like the energy of Saturn. It's all about anything tangible, anything on the material realm, and it often brings restriction. The 4 teaches you to learn how to have freedom within restriction. It also teaches you strength, and it also is associated with strength in the physical body. Now, both Saturn and the number 4 are about discipline, strength, restriction, boundaries, and habits, money, economy, right? So it's about learning to work within restrictions so that it strengthens you. And that's what we're all learning right now. We're all learning as a collective to change our daily habits, and that's something that is very much associated with Saturn and the number 4. To learn how to work with less, to learn how to do more with less. And even though that's super challenging, it's always to strengthen you. It's always to, you know, a muscle needs to be broken in order to be strengthened. And that's what's happening now. These daily disciplines, these daily habits, to learning how to do more with less is strengthening. And we're, of course, by nature, we want freedom, and we want boundless freedom. And for many, many, many years, we've been taught that, like, you know, resources are abundant. They are, in terms of spiritual resources. However, we need to learn to be good stewards of the earth. And one of the things that have been that's been happening with these restrictions is that the earth is healing, and 4 is literally associated with earth and Mother Earth and the material world. And so by having these limitations, we're learning how to have more freedom without having to really go past our natural limits, to be good stewards of the earth, and also to be good stewards of your own energy. We're also learning amazing things about our daily habits and how to improve our health and our happiness and our well-being through healthy habits. So we're learning a lot. We're definitely learning a lot. And 2020 was never going to be easy, but it's strengthening, and it can ultimately be liberating for you and the planet. So let's talk about what's happening in May of 2020. So, well, let me just preface by saying in 2020, every single planet in our solar system is going retrograde. So we're used to Mercury retrograde. That always goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. But the other personal planets, Mars and Venus, that's less frequent. Those are going retrograde this year as well. And of course, the outer planets, which are slower moving and have a bigger, broader effect. So basically, with every planet going retrograde in 2020, we are re-evaluating every aspect of our lives, personal and global. Ain't that the truth? So, I mean, this was all seen ahead of time, right? When we're forecasting and looking with every planet going retrograde, there's definitely a sense that everything is going to be a more internal process, because retrogrades are about internal growth and reevaluating. They always bring things back. So when a planet goes retrograde, we're redoing something. We're relearning something that we missed. We're reevaluating things. So we definitely have a more internal process now, because we are at home. Unless, by the way, you are a frontline worker, and I thank you with all my heart. But most of us are staying home more than usual, right? And with people, or not, right? Like we are really learning these internal processes more and more. So again, this is all in the astrology of the year. Reevaluating and reassessing and having a more yin process. And so we begin in May a wave of retrogrades. May is actually kind of like the least, it's really not, and in terms of the whole year, it's maybe not a very intense month. So in a way, it can be a break because we're in the beautiful sun sign of Taurus until the 20th, and Taurus is very much about home and love and beauty and relationships. So there's all of that sense of really now that we want to beautify our homes, we want to beautify our relationships, we want to bring more beauty into our life, and maybe art. Art is so healing, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus. By the way, Taurus is an earth sign, so this is about maybe finding ways to connect with the earth and to heal the earth and to be healed through the earth. Grounding. This is beautiful. And we really need that. Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Now, Venus is going retrograde this month. It's one of the planets. Now, again, it's a personal planet. Just like when Mercury goes retrograde, you feel that personally. Venus is a personal planet that rules relationships, love, beauty, harmony, and your self-worth. So one of the things you are re-evaluating now is your self-worth, so that you can value yourself more, so that you can have greater self-esteem. So use this time to reflect on how you can value yourself more and receive more love, appreciation, and money. Venus rules money for your gifts, for your beauty, for your beautiful gifts. So that's happening this month. And of course, relationships are going to be in focus, and the relationship with yourself, with other people, with your money. This is time to reevaluate that. Now, Saturn is also, we talked about Saturn in the beginning of this, right? So Saturn is also going retrograde. Saturn, work and structures and boundaries. With Saturn going retrograde, you reevaluate. Now, it could mean that you're returning to work, right? Because if you've been off work, you may be returning to it now. But it could mean also that you're reevaluating your work, that you're reevaluating your boundaries, you're reevaluating your structures in life. What a good time for it, right? So that's going retrograde. We already have Pluto retrograde that started at the end of April. Pluto governs pandemics, so there may be, and viruses, so there may be places that had maybe seen some halt in the viruses. There may be a resurgence of it, but there can also be a reemergence of things that we didn't know that come to light that can help us. Pluto also is associated with your power and what's been hiding in your shadow. So this is an incredible time for you to reclaim your power, for you to reclaim some gifts, some talents that you've been hiding, that you've been tucking away. So there's some dreams buried beneath the surface as well. So it's time for you to reclaim those. Now, the other planet that's going retrograde, I know we have a lot, is Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter are known as the social planets. Jupiter is all about expansion, and Saturn is all about restriction. Now, there's this dance. So we've had this expansion. This is why we've had so much Capricorn now, because it's like, hey, sometimes we need to rein things back. So, but Jupiter is coming back in its retrograde now in Capricorn to help us reevaluate economy, government, and the way we are. Really, there's this this Jupiter-Saturn dance, and how much we should let go of the rules right now and how much we should confine ourselves. So we're going to see this dance now. But Jupiter is also associated with your ideals and travel, and so there may be some travel happening again. I want to talk to you about this though. This is really fascinating. So one of the biggest transformations of the year is happening this month. It's the north nodes of the moon are changing signs, and they're in a sign for 18 months. So for the past 18 months, the north nodes of the moon, the south node has been in Capricorn and the north node has been in Cancer. So this is the dichotomy. We've been learning as a collective about, and so basically, let me backtrack. The north nodes of the moon are associated with karma and dharma. The south node is associated with past life energy and the things that you've learned in your past life, or maybe focused on too much in your past lives, or your karma in your past life. And the north node is associated with where we're headed as a collective. So the south node in the moon for the past 18 months has been in Capricorn, which is actually associated with patriarchy and big government and institutions. So Cancer is associated with self-nurturing and home and self-care and nurturing, self-nurturing and nurturing others. So what this dichotomy of this Capricorn, Cancer, North nodes have been teaching us, and this is what the eclipses have been in, is not relying on big institutions to solve all our problems, and really like maybe how the patriarchy is not appropriate. And by the way, that's not a male thing in general. That can be men and women who can embody that. And how we're learning more about nurturing and taking care of people and home. We've really had to learn that. So, and the balance between work and self-care, and really not just being all work all the time, but really just making sure self-care is a priority. So that's what the Capricorn, Cancer nodes have been teaching us. Well, these nodes are changing signs this month. So that means for the next 18 months, we're as a collective going to be focusing on this collective dharma as we heal this collective karma. So the nodes of the moon are changing signs. The north node is going to be in Gemini and the south node is in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is the beauty of both of these signs is they're about learning and teaching and education, which is great. So that is going to be the focus for the world in the next 18 months. Hallelujah. We all need to learn some more. So the shadow side of Sagittarius, even though Sagittarius is associated with travel, long distance travel, overseas travel, other cultures, teaching, publishing, this is all great. So why is it in the south node in our karmic? Well, because now we need to focus more on local travel, local communities, which is Gemini, learning more. Now, where Sagittarius is more about ideals and your fixed belief system, and the shadow side of that could be dogma or religious fanaticism or your ideals not having any flexibility. So what's happening now for the next 18 months with this north node shift is that the focus is going to be on community and learning more and changing your ideals. Now, for instance, you may have ideals to like, you may think, oh, I need to like have my bucket list to see 50 countries in order to be fulfilled or whatever. If that was an ideal of yours, well, that might be changing now. Where we focus on what's more simple, like what's more around us, building community, learning more, right? And this is really fascinating how this plays out in real life when you see the astrology ahead of time and how it plays out in real life. I always do a forecast event at the top of the year. So in my forecast event, 2020 Illuminated at the top of the year, when I saw the Gemini North Node and the Sagittarius South Node, I had said that the focus is going to be on local travel and trips closer by as opposed to overseas travel, because that's going to help our environment. And I didn't know how that was going to happen because I thought perhaps people would change their mind and realize that we need to preserve our environment more. And flying everywhere isn't the best thing for the environment, especially these long trips. Well, I always say that if we don't make these choices consciously, the universe makes it for us. So here's what's happening. Now, this node occurred also just after 9/11, and people stopped flying for a while. So now it's happening, and I'm hoping that we're all going to make some choices now where we learn more about each other and we find ways to communicate and have wonderful experiences, because Gemini loves experiences, to have these wonderful experiences while being kinder to the planet. So that's all happening this month. And this is an easy month, relatively. I told you, right? 2020, what can I say? So there's so much happening right now, and I want to help you make sense of it. So I have 3 action steps to help you navigate this month and the months coming up, but especially what to focus on this month. So the first thing is for you to learn new skills. That's what this North Node in Gemini is about. It's teaching you how to adapt and learn new things and be curious. Here's another great thing. I know I'm talking about action steps now, but I have to say, with the North Nodes changing and with Saturn retrograding, it's changing signs into Aquarius for 3 months, we get a break from some of this intense Capricorn energy. I love Capricorn. It is a fellow Earth sign, but we have had too much Capricorn per capita. It has been just like so much. So Gemini is an air, it's an air sign. It's breezy. So this is teaching you to have fun learning new things, to learn new skills, to be joyful with it, not to put too much pressure on yourself, but just to be curious. Be curious about ways to adapt right now. Be curious about creating new habits. Be curious about learning about health, not with a lot of pressure, but with a sense of joyful curiosity. So that's your first step. Learn some new things, and you may need it to change your careers. Now, I just want to say that Gemini and Sagittarius, they're both associated with teaching. So if you have something inside of you, and Gemini is a communication sign, if you have anything inside of you that you can teach someone, make a video about it, start a podcast, share this. Don't be scared, just share. And this is going to help a lot of people, and it's really going to help you too. And remember, that's going to help your sense of self-worth as well. You have so much inside of you that needs to be shared, so why not go ahead and do it? Okay, that's your first action step. Now your second action step is to take things slowly. Retrograde planets are not about rushing. I know there is so much to do right now, and there's also this pressure like, hey, if I'm quarantined, like I needed to learn how to do all the things on my, tick them off my list. There's a lot going on. You have a lot to process. So take things slowly, because what these retrogrades are teaching you is to tune into yourself, is to tune back into your heart, especially with that Venus retrograde. It's about you feeling all the feels that you overlooked, that you didn't process. And there's a lot of feels to feel right now. So take your time. If you want to write in a journal, meditate, slow down, and the changes that you're making now, incremental changes. This is one thing Saturn teaches you. Incremental changes that are done daily can have a greater impact than just trying to change everything at once. Okay? Now, your third action step is to bring more light into your life. Now, this could be physically, like bring light and beauty into your home so that you have a more cheerful vibration and it lifts your spirits. Anything that's going to lift your spirit, right? Now, this is also an energetic thing because it's natural to have a ton of fear right now. Even if you're just empathically picking up on other people's fear, or even if you're feeling okay and the people around you are fearful, It's natural. Fear is a natural response to what's happening now. But you don't want to live there. Now, light is a high vibration that lifts fear. So you can practice bringing light into your energy field, into your body. All you have to do is literally visualize your whole being filling with light and radiating light. Now, that is actually your energetic immune system as well. And you can lighten up, which keeps you out of the fear vibration. So do things that are joyful for you. Bring more levity into your life. Laugh. Things are serious now. However, the more joy that you have, the more levity you have, the more things that you do that bring you joy and lightness, the better your immunity is and the better you are bringing light into the planet. And it lifts the vibration of you and everyone around you. Spirit guides are super, super funny and joyful. And even when things are serious down here, they're always lifting our spirits. Angels lift your spirits. So visualize this light coming into your being. And again, this is your energetic immunity. This actually can bring your physical immunity up when you bring more light into your body and your energy field. Now, of course, I have something to help you, and it's free. My Embody the Light meditation, it's a guided meditation that's going to help you transform any fears into light and love. So you can download that using the link below, and that can really help you. Now, I also, because this is a time when I want to help you as much as I can, I put every item in my happiness store on sale for 40 to 70% off. Especially the chakra meditations, life path illuminations, that can help you as well. I have all of these on sale right now. Calling in your abundance angels. These are the programs that I know can especially help you during this trying time, but everything is on sale right now. And some of these are actually going away later this month because those 3 will stay in my store. But a lot of my products are going away because I'm getting a new website soon. So wings and fingers crossed, it's gonna happen by the end of the month. So if you want to take advantage of that sale, you can, I'll send you the link below. It's karisamuels.com/store. In the meantime, I am wishing you the most peaceful, light, healthy, and happy May. I wish you so much love and thank you so much. I love you and have a marvelous May. Bye for now.